What's going on, people? It's the Xbot 448. Today, guys, I want to travel down the rabbit hole. And you might be asking yourself, yo, Xbot, what the hell are you talking about now? And I'm talking about basically frames per second and options. For people who follow BGST, you know that our boy D came on the show yesterday, and K-Mega and D got into this whole thing about options in video games. Options with games coming out on the Xbox One X. Not only that, there's been this huge kind of like narrative going around social media and the gaming media and stuff about frames per second when it comes to games on the Xbox One X. I just want to say, you know, the Xbox One X was unveiled this E3, you know, just this past week, and I am completely excited for this. I am looking forward to the graphical upgrade when it comes to these games. You know, the improved textures, lighting, shadows, stuff like that. That's my main thing. It always has been my main thing. Native resolution doesn't bother me, and you know, frames per second for the most part never really bothered me. Now, with that being said, I love that Halo is now 60 frames per second. First person shooters, closed track racers, stuff like that, 60 frames per second, I dig it, alright? But there seems to be a narrative going out. There's people saying that every single game, because the Xbox One X has the power to do so, that every game should be 60 frames per second. And I like what Microsoft is doing here. They're leaving it up to the developers to make their creation, to make their game the way that they feel it is the best for them. Like, you got to remember, these guys, they're like artists. They're like people who are painting, you know, who are doing paintings that will be up in museums in the future and stuff. It's an art form, all right? And you don't tell Picasso, hey dude, you really need to go with more pastels, less of the bold colors. Dude, that abstract needs to have more detail in the face and stuff like that. You just don't do that, all right? Now, when it comes to 60 frames per second, like a lot of people say, it feels better and stuff, which I'm not going to agree or disagree. But I'm saying I like where Microsoft is like, you know what, developers, you are creating a game. You have that vision, so here are the tools. You do what you wish to make that vision. I like that. I think that's where it should be, and that's my whole thought process on that. Now, when it comes to this option thing, for people who dabble in the PC space, in PC gaming, you know that games always come with these options to either, you know, raise frames per second, you could drop resolution, you could even drop the graphical fidelity of the game in order to kind of configure it the way you want to. Now, I don't feel that developers necessarily like this in the PC gaming space because, again, the game is their creation, but they had to adhere to it. They had to abide by it. They had to kind of like customize themselves around it, just for the fact that the PC space has so many variables. So you have people out there who spend thousands and thousands of dollars for absolutely insane specs when it comes to their tower or whatever, you know, PC, you know, desktop, laptop, or whatever PC they're gaming on. They invest, there's people that invest huge sums of money, and these developers actually have to cater to that. I don't feel that they necessarily like that. So, you know, in other words, basically the developer makes their game, they use presets for how they feel their game should be presented, and then there's these adjustments to slide, you know, the frames per second up to reduce resolution, stuff like that, for the PC gaming space. And there's people that feel that we should have options on the Xbox One X. Now, I am not a fan of that per se, and here is the reason. Okay, once you start kind of like demanding these things, we are a huge gaming community. If you know, few people out there, right, that see we start demanding this, and Xbox does it. They start giving us, you know, the option to drop the resolution and increase the frame rates to 60 frames per second. So you're looking at 1440p upscaled, you know, to 4K and then 60 frames per second. When you start giving these options out, you're basically opening what I call Pandora's box, because there are so many people within this community. There's so many Xbox lovers. There are so many Xbox haters, though, out there, that once you open that door, all of a sudden you'll see groups of people trying to demand more. So think of like the next Halo to come out, Halo 6, right? Which is a very competitive multiplayer. So having frames per second, uniform across the board, I think is a very important part of it. So say we demand for options and we get options. Halo 6 comes out and all of a sudden a group of people start saying, you know what? We don't really care about native resolution to the point where bring it back down to 1080p and give me 120 frames per second. You see what I'm saying? Now you're starting to open the door to where people are demanding more, even if they don't fully understand what they are demanding, period. Alright? There are a lot of people that say 120 frames per second is overkill. People that, you know, do have PC rigs but do still play console, they say 120 frames per second is overkill. But we're not talking about just those people. We are talking about a huge community where all of a sudden, you know, another group might become very vocal and be like, you know what, 1080p, 120 frames per second, that's what I want. You couple that together with Xbox's decision to eventually support mouse and keyboard, and I think that's going to be coming soon, and all of a sudden you have a clear advantage, disadvantage when it comes to mouse and keyboard players and controllers. And I don't want to see that, guys. You know, not for anything, but when it comes to the console space, one of the key things about the console space is simplicity, plug and play. I think that's one of the main catches when it comes to being a console gamer. And I just don't want to turn that key to Pandora's box where all of a sudden it allows other groups of gamers, maybe, you know, gamers that don't even have the Xbox One X, but they feel like they can be a vocal group within the gaming community, start demanding things that, you know, we don't even want. But that's just my opinion, guys. This is my video for now. As usual, hit up the comments. I know this is a touchy subject for a lot of people, and I am really, really interested to see what my subscribers, what my followers, and, you know, everybody in the gaming community, what you guys think about this stuff. And as usual, you know, you like the topics, you like the gameplay, definitely hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe. But as for now, this is the Xbot 448, and I am definitely signing off.